So this video is going to take you through what you might do with your analytical writing once you're at the stage where you have planned your response to the essay question. You have some topic sentences ready to go, but you're not quite sure how to go about explaining and expanding that topic sentence into a fully formed analytical paragraph that, of course, uses evidence and fully explains and proves the claim you've made. So to sort of go through some things that you might have already done, but to take us through the process anyway, you would already have looked at your essay question and you would have broken it down. So for this video, I'm going to be using the essay question, how does Maddie's understanding of beauty change throughout the novel? Let's say that you've already come up with your contention in response to this essay prompt. For the purposes of this video, the contention we'll use is Maddie's understanding of beauty, whilst initially damaging, develops to reflect her gradual engagement with and understanding of the world beyond herself, ultimately enriching her experience of the world around her and her journey to the mountaintop. By this point as well, you will have developed your three ideas. So for this video, the three ideas that follow on from that contention would be the first idea that via the journey with her father, Maddie's able to see the beauty in herself that she was at first blind to. The second idea would be after the quest for beauty, Maddie sees it as something that should be captured and kept, and this is what leads to the destructive relationship with Feather. And our third idea might be that through the fade, Maddie's able to understand beauty as inextricably connected to a less selfish kind of love and thus an essential part of the human experience. Just as a sort of a brief side note, what you might notice about these three ideas is that they more or less, the position I've chosen to put them in, or the positions I would write about them in an essay more or less reflect the chronology of the narrative. So I'm not going to be talking about the Fae before I've talked about the journey with Maddie's father, because that just wouldn't make sense and it wouldn't create the most cohesive essay possible. So for this video, we're going to look at this second idea and look at how we might expand that out into a paragraph. So the first thing we need to do is actually make sure that our idea is in fact a topic sentence, because a few things we need to remember about topic sentences. It should be a claim. It should also be, however, sort of rich enough that it will provide us with all the scope we need to get a lot of depth and sophistication in our paragraph. So we've got this idea, but we might need to sort of tidy it up a little bit before we can actually use it as a topic sentence within our essay. So this idea becomes the topic sentence of paragraph 2 in our essay, and it becomes Maddie's travelling papa. I've used a little bit of a chocolate chip there. Maddie's travelling papa, whilst enriching her early life by providing her with her first loving relationship, lays the foundations for Maddie's detrimental obsession with capturing beauty. So we're now at the point where we need to develop that topic sentence into the remainder of a paragraph. Now this probably looks really daunting because I've gone ahead and I've written the whole rest of the paragraph, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through it slowly and I'm going to break down why what is in there is in fact in there so that you can seek to replicate that in your own writing. So if we look at our topic sentence that we've written, we actually more or less have two parts to it, two sort of mini claims within that claim. The first part of our claim is that Maddie's travelling papa enriches her early life by providing her with her first loving relationship. So before we move on to proving the second part of our claim, which is sort of probably the more important part of our claim, we actually have to prove that first part, because one of the golden rules of essay writing is that no claim goes left unproven. So I've highlighted here what I've put in to prove that part of the claim. Though the connection they forge on their journey around the world helps Maddie to realise for the first time in her life that she is courageous and defiant and therefore valuable. So what I did was I went back to the text and I sought out any evidence that proved that the relationship or the journey enriched Maddie's early life. And I found this quotation that she said that she knew that she had courage and defiance. And so I used my square brackets to make that a chocolate chip that would be embedded properly into my biscuit batter. Once I've proven the early part of my claim, I can go on to proving the second part of my claim. So the second part of my claim is that this relationship lays the foundations for Maddie's detrimental obsession with capturing beauty. Now, this is probably going to take me a little bit longer to prove because it's actually a fairly hefty claim that kind of this is the initial point at which Maddie has this really devastating relationship with beauty that kind of follows her throughout a good part of the book. So I've said, I went back to, I thought, well, what's the catalyst of this? And I thought, well, it's really before they set off on this journey for beautiful things, because that's where her relationship with beauty really starts. We don't hear anything about that before that. So I've said, and so I'm trying to prove this part that she's got this detrimental obsession with capturing beauty. Maddie's beloved father imparts the dangerous message that the only important question in life, I thought that was a really fantastic piece of evidence to use because he says beauty is the only important question, is to identify the world's most beautiful thing. The travels they undertake cultivate Maddie's obsession with collecting trinkets. So I've sort of gone about proving that it is Maddie's father that lays the foundations for this this idea of capturing beauty and keeping beauty. And I've said, well, one of the ways I can prove that is that she has all of these trinkets and they're the one thing she sort of holds on to until the end point of her life. And I've also proved that by saying, it's this obsession. Well, a good piece of evidence to prove that is that he said it's the only important question. So you'll probably be wondering where I've got these quotes from. The way I like to write is I have my novel open next to me as I write so that I can flick back and forth to it. And one thing that I did to prepare myself to write this essay was to make sure that I had a lot of notes written throughout my novel and post-it notes to enable me to really quickly move in and out of different parts of the novel as I need to, so that this evidence is on hand. I'm not necessarily working from a quote bank or anything like that, but I'm going back to the source and I'm using my really deep knowledge of the text to dip in and out of the text as I need. The next thing you'll notice that I've done is I've just put in a little bit of a reference here to show that I understand that the text is a construction, that it's deliberately put together. So I've just put in a reference to the framing narrative because that's a reference to sort of the structure of the text. So I've tacked it onto the end of this sentence that I just read previously. The travels they undertake cultivate Maddie's obsession with collecting the trinkets that eventually adorn the living room in which the mysterious boy appears in the external framing narrative. And you'll notice that I didn't pass up an opportunity to put in chocolate chip. I thought, well, why just say the boy when I can put in a chocolate chip and say the mysterious boy and put it in as a quotation? Now I'm going to go back to this. I don't really feel yet that I've proven this idea that she has an obsession that is detrimental. So that's what I'm going to go about proving next. So basically, as I'm writing, I'm continuing to refer back. I'm consistently proofreading, and I'm continuously referring back to the claim that I've written, to the topic sentence that I've written, and I'm continually asking myself the question, is there any part of this claim that I either haven't yet proven or that I haven't proven convincingly enough? And at this point, I don't feel that I've proven this part about the detrimental obsession well enough. So I'm going to say, before long, this devotion to collecting beauty leads Maddie to, in much the same way as she collects trinkets, so I'm using linking words, transition phrases, attempt to capture the wild feather, Maddie's most beautiful thing. The next bit I'm going to prove is about, so I feel that, okay, I feel that I've gone a little bit more of a way to proving this detrimental obsession. I'm going to look at this part of capturing beauty. And I think that one of the things I can draw on about that is thinking about this idea of the way that she objectifies him. She sees him as an object that she can capture, that she can keep, that she can collect as she does her trinkets. Rather than seeking to establish any true connection with Feather, Maddie objectifies him, disregarding any proper name he might have had and comparing him to cathedrals and stained glass windows, as well as elephants and snow geese, and obsessing over his physical smokiness and featheriness. You'll notice that I had to use square brackets quite a bit to make that grammatically correct, so don't forget to be using those square brackets where necessary. In the same way one might cage a bird, Maddie's efforts to keep Feather's beauty as hers alone, as if she was still on her quest for beautiful things, destroys their relationship. So this is where I'm going to link this part about capturing back to this idea about detrimental obsession. So you notice I keep coming back to this claim. I keep coming back. I keep coming back. And so I think that I've established that it's a detrimental obsession. I think I've established that she captures it, but I really want to make sure that my reader can see how those two ideas are linked together, that it's a detrimental obsession and that she's seeking to capture beauty. So in the same way as one might cage a bird, Maddie's efforts to keep Feather's beauty as hers alone, as if she was still on her quest for beautiful things, destroys their relationship. So it's detrimental. It destroys their relationship, pitching Maddie into a state of despair and causing her to reflect on their doomed relationship as horrible, the very worst thing that could have happened. So now, reflecting back on my topic sentence, I feel that I've proven everything that I need to prove. I've definitely proved that first bit, that the relationship has some benefits, that being with the travelling papa makes her feel valued. I feel that I've proven that it's a detrimental obsession. I've said it's horrible. She obsesses over collecting trinkets. And I've also proven this idea that she wants to capture beauty, that she objectifies him, that she keeps him as a trinket. So now the very last thing I need to do before my paragraph is finished is write myself a linking sentence. So I'm going to make sure that I've reread the entirety of my topic sentence. Maddie's travelling papa, whilst enriching her early life by providing her with her first loving relationship, lays the foundations for Maddie's detrimental obsession with capturing beauty. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by using a linking word, a transition word. Here I've used the word ultimately. And then I'm going to more or less rephrase my topic sentence, but adding in sort of references to the meat of my paragraph, to what I really expanded out in my paragraph. So see how I do this. Ultimately, it's her father's well-meaning yet misguided teachings of the paramount importance of beautiful things that disrupts the course of Maddie's relationships and provides the catalyst for the ensnarement of both Feather and herself in the prison of her heart. So I've more or less repeated the idea of my topic sentence, but I've added a little bit to it because my reader now has more of an understanding of what I mean through having read the rest of my paragraph. So that's it. That's how I would go about taking a topic sentence, identifying what within that topic sentence I need to prove, and expanding it out into a fully formed paragraph with plenty of chocolate chips throughout it. Now, a thing to comment on here before I finish is that if my topic sentence had not been as complex, as long, and as rich as it was, I would have struggled to have added that much detail in the body of my paragraph. So if you are struggling to really expand out your paragraph, it might be because your topic sentence is just not complex enough. So make sure that your topic sentence is nice and complex and rich and gives you lots to talk about. And then in the body of your paragraph, just keep referring back to your topic sentence and make sure you have really thoroughly proved each part of that topic sentence. The other thing that you will notice, and I cannot stress the importance of this enough, is that there is nothing in this paragraph that does not directly relate to my topic sentence, to my claim within this paragraph, and therefore to my overall contention, which was that Maddie's understanding of beauty, whilst initially damaging, develops to reflect her gradual engagement with an understanding of the world beyond herself, ultimately enriching her experience of the world around her and her journey to the mountaintop. So by using this method of working through and making sure I have addressed each part of my topic sentence, I have in fact made sure that I have adhered closely to the topic sentence and that I have proven my overall contention and therefore responded appropriately to the prompt at hand. So there you have it. Good luck with writing your paragraphs.